Welcome, Walnut. I'm Lara, but you can call me Laz, your host for Walnut Wednesday. This is your reminder to be brave, be yourself, and know that you can make the world a better place just by what you decide today. Here, I'm going to share my weekly walnuttings with you on a Wednesday.
Hello, Walnut. It is me, Les, here for another episode of Walnut Wednesday, and I am so excited to have invited Charissa on the podcast. Welcome, Charissa.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. Thank you.
I'm so excited as well. So, Walnut, I actually met Charissa in a program of Carrie's where she was a guest talking all about money and things, and I actually I won a psychic session with you, Charissa, isn't that right? Where we sat down early in the morning, and it was actually quite wonderful because we were both drinking those like healthy pink drinks at the time, the little vitamin drinks, and we both had the same glass, and I thought that was really cool, and I had a really lovely session with you. So I just knew from sort of the moment I saw you as a guest in that program, I was like, I want to talk to you more on Walnut Wednesday, and I want my walnuts to hear from you more as well. So welcome. I'm so happy that you're here. And Charissa, I'll just get you to start by introducing yourself.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. It's such an honor to be here, and it was so fun to do your psychic session for you, and it was hilarious. I had this pull, I don't know what it was, to pour myself this like pink healthy drink in, I think it was like a crystal glass, and they showed up and you had basically the same thing, and I was like, this is your energy, and you showed up with that. So that was like, it always still blows my mind, when I do psychic sessions and things come through or I say certain things and my client is blown away. I too get blown away still. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm Charissa Lynn. I am the Money Magic Witch over on Instagram. That's where you can find me. That's where it's hot. That's where I always am. I'm a mother of 3. I live in London, Ontario, Canada, and I was a full-time kindergarten teacher and just left my full-time job this past year. I also own a product-based company where we make aftercare for the beauty businesses. So tattoos, lip injections, microblading, lash extensions. So we do the aftercare for that, and it's called Crushed Aftercare. And the Money Magic Witch is my business coaching, and that is where I lead women to break through in their next level in business and lead them to manifest more money than ever before.
I love that. I love the Money Magic Witch as well. Like, what can I ask, what made you think of that like name or title for yourself?
Oh my gosh, it's new actually. And I've been through so many evolutions. So I have been doing my coaching business for about 4 years now. And it first started off as I am Charissa Lynn. That was the name. And then it evolved into Intuition is Your Business, because I was doing a lot of intuitive work and teaching about intuition and, psychic sessions. And then it turned into last summer, Intuition Revolution. So then I was really stepping into this, like, let's revolutionize intuition and bring in the wealth with this. You can be spiritual and you can be wealthy. And then just recently I was like, I'm going into other things. I was doing a certification in money coaching, and a lot of my focus was on, creating this limitless wealth, on how to overcome your money beliefs. And the money archetypes are new this year that I'm taking through this coaching certificate. And I love to play in the realm of magic, the magic of the unseen, the magic of what can be, working with divination tools and rituals, all the magic witchy things. And I thought, I love money. I'm obsessed. I love to learn about it, read about it, be, in the environment of people who have money, like go onto YouTube and listen to them and have the coaches and all the things. And then I love magic, and I'm a witch. So it just made so much sense to really like claim it as my title. And it was a scary thing to do. It was a scary thing to just come out and say, this is who I am, this is what I do, but I did it.
I love it. I love it. And that's what's so great about this industry as well, is you kind of have free reign to just go and grab something and claim it and just hold on to it for dear life and take it as yours, really. So good on you. I'm so proud of you and happy for you. And I love the name. It's amazing.
You know what you're going to get, right? It's just like so obvious. Money, magic, and if you don't like witches, you probably don't want to come my way. But if you're intrigued and you're like, hey, give me all the magic, then you'll want to come my way.
I love it. I love it. And yeah, your sessions are truly magic, like healing at the same time, to be honest. I had such a great chat with you when I had my one. Let's get into, Charissa, please, the sacred money archetypes that you sort of just mentioned, because when I did that activity, it was so much fun. It was fun to like do the little, figure out which ones I was, and then have you really talk about each archetype and how you can sort of utilize that, not only in your like business, if you don't have a business, Walnut, but in like your life and how you respond with money and work with money, which I think, is applicable to anyone and everyone, not just people who do their own business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be personal, and they're so intertwined anyway. So whether or not you want to focus on your business, you still got to focus on your personal, because your business and the success and the money that comes your way is a reflection of who you're being. So you cannot separate it, but it is also for people who are not in business as well. So with the money archetypes, we are born into this world with this like signature frequency of how we operate best with money. And so there's 8 different archetypes. And this system was created by Kendall Summerhawk. And this is the certification I took through her. And so with these 8 different archetypes, there's actually a quiz that she created. It's on my Instagram. I have it there on the Money Magic Witch. You can click on my link in bio, and it's a free quiz to take. It takes about 5 to 8 minutes to do. And after that, it reveals at the end your 3 top archetypes. Now, this is once you know your archetype, then you can be like, oh, you can either give yourself this permission to be who you were meant to be, like it's eye-opening. And so like with the archetypes, it's like an energetic way of being. They all have their different characteristics, like any archetype, like the queen energy, the king, the joker, the mother, the angel, any archetype you can think about, right? Like as soon as we think about it, it's like we almost shift ourselves and become that, like if especially in business, be the queen energy. What do? You start to stand taller and you feel more powerful and you speak more boldly and you become that like ruler of your queendom. And so with the money archetypes, when you learn which one you are, you can start to step into that vibration, that feeling, the emotions of that archetype. And the more you can do that, the more aligned you'll be with money, because you're truly being who you're meant to be, right? Stepping into that archetype. So there's 3 that are your top ones to really harness. Now, I do like to do and look at clients' very bottom archetype to see which one was like lowest ranked. And usually that's like an energy, a way of being. You're like, what was mine?
My one.
That you may be kind of putting under the carpet, maybe trying to avoid. So an example would be, I had a client and she was afraid to be seen. Okay. Her powerful way of being, to show up more boldly, to be on the stage. Yet she yearned for this like very successful business, but then was afraid when she came on to speak in her stories. And her bottom archetype was the celebrity. And the celebrity, is it yours?
Yeah.
Is here to be seen, to be in the spotlight, to like shamelessly do those photo shoots. She's here to, have the flashy things. Where this client, I don't remember the last time she did a photo shoot. And so there's this part of her that was afraid to be in the spotlight or to show up with all the bling, or the shame around materialistic things, and that it shouldn't be talked about. And this was actually one of her things that was holding her back, was to speak about money because of her social conditioning. And with a celebrity, they show it off. So you can look at your bottom one and it can tell you a lot about what you may be hiding and almost like your shadow side, right? That needs to be faced. So there's 8 different archetypes. And I mean, I don't think we'll have time to go through all of them, but I'll list what they are and very quickly snapshots. So we have the ruler archetype, which I am, and this is the one who's here to build her empire. She's that can't stop, won't stop. So typical, business CEO. Think of someone like the Donald Trump, right? Like they're always creating, they're always having some sort of business venture. And if you go to my Instagram, it's the photo. I did a photo shoot on these sacred archetypes. It's a photo of me in this like black dress that just goes above my knees, and I have these like long or these tall black boots, and I have this like gold chain and a crown. So it's really this like fierce, powerful queen energy. Okay, so very like, let's go, let's do this. Nothing's gonna stop me. And then we have, well, I'll go through mine, and then we have the celebrity, which I just talked about, who is to be in the spotlight, who, loves to be on stage. She's magnetic, she's confident, she's radiant, she's supposed to be a leader. So if this is your archetype and you're like, ooh, I'm kind of afraid to be seen, or I have this idea to start a business, but who am I to do it? If you can step into these energies, the frequencies, the signatures of the celebrity and the ruler, things will just come to you, right? At a quick rate, you'll collapse time because you're aligning with your archetype. And so even for myself, I do a lot of photo shoots. And there's a little bit of me that was like, will people be like, what did you say?
I said, I know, and I love them. I love your Instagram.
Thank you. And I have so much fun. I love them. And to me, it's very important to have these photo shoots and these like next level, beautiful photos and branding, like a magazine. And celebrities are in magazines. So it only makes sense that that's very important to me. And then it feels so good. And like when I book them, I'm not like, oh, here we go again. I'm like, ooh, like who can I be? And like what layer is going to be, peeled back in this photo shoot, and who am I going to become? And so there was a part of me at one point, I think just before I learned about the money archetypes, where I was a little fearful of, will people think I get too many photo shoots? And, like, will they think I'm vain? And I've had people make comments saying, wow, you do a lot of photo shoots. And once I learned that I was a celebrity, I was like, bring it on, because I know if I can be more of that archetype and energy, the money's going to flow my way, because I'm going to be my full magnetic self, right? Attracting even more money and people my way.
Beautiful. I love it. I love it so much. And I think that's what like magnetized me to you, because I think we're like opposites, because my one is like the accumulator, the nurturer, and celebrity is my last one. So I think that's why I was like, oh, I need to talk to you more, because you kind of like inspire me, because you behave in the way that is not my natural way of behaving. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and every archetype, like I do want to say that no one is better than the other. It's just like in human design, how we're like, I'm an MG, and we're like, yeah. And then we like rally together. It's similar where you get excited. You're like, are you a Maverick archetype? Are you a celebrity? Oh my God, right? Because we can resonate with each other, but they're all on equal playing fields. There's no one that's, wrong or right or better or worse, but they all come with their challenges. So like everything in life, right? The dualities of life. Yeah. And even in human design, where you have your not self theme, it's very similar where there's challenges. So the celebrity can almost like overseek that attention and spend money just to be validated, or just to be liked, or, attach money to their worthiness. So you do have to pay attention to the challenges that come along with it. So you can be the archetype in her power, though, where it's like, you do go and you get the things that you want because you want it and you desire it, not because you have to be seen as better than other people. And so the accumulator is the archetype who is really good with money, like number savvy, money savvy. They're the ones who, would be the accountants, the investors, like, there's a part of me that's envious about that, because I would love to know more about stocks and, those money things that I'm like, oh my God, when I go into my accounting meetings, I'm like, and I'm just like, thank the Lord, she knows what she's talking about. I just like, I'm getting better at it. But, and we can pull in, parts of these archetypes. So for instance, as I grow both of my businesses, I want to have some of the energy of the accumulator. So I have a bookkeeper that we have regular conversations. I have an accountant who we have meetings, and she fills me in on what all these things mean, and then I allow myself to understand as best as I can, but I'm never going to, get to where they're at. It's just not my interest.
Yeah.
But, and then I'm a Maverick archetype is my third one. So the Maverick is the gambler. She will take the risks and gamble in the name of her dreams. And I do that constantly with my business. I'm investing all the time. And, but of course the challenge can be where you're overspending or taking too many risks, and then you don't have any money to your name, right? Or you're not actually building sustainable wealth. So that's where I would want to bring in that accumulator energy. And I have accumulators on my team. So if you're not running a business and you're like in, let's say, a company, or also running a business, look at your team too. Get them to do the quiz, because it'll help you. It's like my husband, actually, he hasn't done the test, but he's definitely a Maverick. Like he's so like me. So we need people in our company that are going to be like, whoa, okay, this amount of money needs to go here. This needs to go into pension, like, being smart with your money too. We're about the risk, but then also let's bring in that accumulator. And the nurturer is very giving and devoted and reliable and generous, which is so beautiful. It's like a mother type energy. And then the challenge there would be like overgiving and no boundaries. And then, it's like a mother who like gives her kids anything and everything, or pays for their rent, or where then it becomes like enabling. So that's the nurturer. It's a beautiful thing. And if you're in business or in your personal life, it's like, owning that I am such a generous person and I am so loving and nurturing. But I also need to be in my power at the same time.
Yeah, and I think that's what's really beautiful about knowing how that you've mentioned, knowing the people that are around you. Because, for example, me being an accumulator, my partner Geordie is a Maverick. So it like almost balances each other out, because he enjoys taking the risks, and he pushes me to my edges of risk taking, and then I kind of push him to his edges of holding on to things a little bit longer and stuff like that as well. So it actually is really interesting when you start to look at what the people around you are as well. And I just did it as a fun thing because it was in the program that I did the quiz. And I was like, do you want to do this with me just to see what we both are? And I can tell you what your archetype means, after I listened to the class with Charissa. And it's just interesting and really prominent. But we both, my partner and I, our lowest one is both the celebrity. So it's just really interesting when you have clarity on what they all are. And Walnut, on Charissa's Instagram, there are like definitions and, like you said, that photo shoot all through your feed, where if the audience who are listening want to go and check out what specific ones are, you've given great details and done some really awesome reels on all the different archetypes, which I really love.
Yeah, and they can go to the highlights as well on my feed. And there's one that says Money Archetypes that I would have highlighted. That would be easy access. But yeah, scroll my feed and I have a very evident, like the Maverick, and you can click right on and read about it. Yeah, so there's a few more. So there's the romantic, and I love the romantic. I'm not the romantic, but I definitely like play in that energy a lot. And this is like that divine feminine energy where she's here, he's here to just like really indulge in life, right? And they're about pleasurable things and abundance, the luxurious things. They're here to be generous too. And they're about building those memories. So this would be, a mother who, if she's going to take her kids out for ice cream, she has $10 left to her name, she's going to get the ice cream, right? Because life is about enjoying it. And so she's not that accumulator energy where it'd be like, no, we're saving the $10 as our last $10. Pleasure, romantic as in, getting those flowers and putting them in a vase on your counter to enjoy smelling them and looking at them, having the silk sheets. It's just like the extra things. And the challenge with romantic would be very similar to the celebrity, where it's like overspending or overindulgence. So there's other things you can do as the romantic, is to have that hot cup of coffee in the morning and snuggle up in your warm blanket. Like, what else is luxurious to you where it's not that overindulgence and overspending? But the romantic needs it. She needs those pleasurable, enjoyable, luxurious things. So very attentive to like the details in her life and her environment.
Yeah, that's Geordie's second one as well. So he's Maverick romantic. So again, it really balances our relationship out, because he's got that like little extra, indulge in this, and it's great for me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. And what else do we have? I think I went through most of them except for the alchemist and the connector, the last two. So I love the alchemist because this is like, think about turning the lead into gold, right? So the alchemist, so powerful because you can really have this idea and turn it into something massive. And so I've done some readings before, not readings, but sessions. I say readings because I'm used to doing like psychic readings, although psychic messages still come through for my clients. But I have money archetype private sessions you can book with me after you do the quiz. And I had a client who was the alchemist. And since she was a kid, she was always coming up with so many different ideas, right? It kind of reminds me of like the manifesting generator, human design, right? It's like so many different ideas and doing all the different things. But like the incredible thing is that the alchemist, no matter what idea, she can turn it into gold, or he can turn it into gold. They're just like alchemizing, transmuting left and right. And people are like, how did they do it? Like, I don't even know. How did they do it? So the woman who I did the session for, she was like, oh my God, I've always been like that. And then there's people who have the ideas, but they're not in their power as an alchemist. So they're like, who am I to do this? And they dismiss these creative ideas and these innovative ideas. This is their talent, is to always have these different like transformational, daring ideas, creative, seeing possibilities. But if they're not in their power, they'll just leave it be. And then eventually that thought or idea is going to float off to someone else who will pick it up and turn it into gold. And then we have, the last one is the connector. Well, you were the alchemist, the nurturer. No, you were, the accumulator, the nurturer. And then what else were you?
And the alchemist, that was me.
Oh, you were the alchemist. Okay. So how do you relate to that?
I just have lots of ideas all the time. And if I don't write them down, they just go around and swirl around in my head, and then I forget them. But I think it's really prominent in Walnut Wednesday, where I'm like, I want to do this, and I just make it happen. Like, I want to write a book, so I wrote a book. I want to start a podcast,
oh my God.
so I started a podcast, with all the fears and the things attached to it, but I still just did it.
Oh my gosh, I love this. I'm going to use you as an example then. Next time when I'm talking about the alchemist, I'll be like, and then there was this woman, she was a walnut, of course, and she wanted to write a book, so she wrote a book, and she wanted to do a podcast, so she did a podcast, right? So you're turning that thought into something tangible, and then people in your world are going, how did she do that? Of course she did that, right? And that's just the energy of the alchemist. And then the connector is this energy of like total faith and optimism, like trusting, very innocent, doesn't really stress about money. So just it's going to come in. I'm always divinely guided and supported. It's almost like they're up in this like ethereal layer to this world, to this dimension. And but the thing with them is because they are so trusting, they don't really own their power when it comes to money. So they may not know what bills due next, or just hand all their finances over to someone else. And they're not really like being deeply connected with money. It's just trusting, then letting go of that like empowering role of being financially savvy and independent.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the archetypes.
Amazing. I love it. And like, I already am like, oh, now I just want to go and read all about them all over again, because it's kind of like, you know, those personality tests where it's like, once you know what you are, you're like, oh, and you go and read about it, and it makes you feel like you know yourself so much more better, or like you feel so seen when you hear about something that links to you, right?
Yeah, definitely the feeling seen for sure. And I know I felt like that even with human design when I was a manifesting generator. I was like, okay, so now I can just like be and do it all. Because there was a time where I was like, maybe I should like focus all my energy on the product business. Maybe I'm taking away from there and being spread out over here. And you know how they say where you place your focus is where you place your power. So I was going through that for a time period where I was like, do I leave the coaching and just fully go? And then honestly, once I found out my human design, I was like, I'm going to do it all. Just hands in all the pockets. And it's working for me. And that's the same as your archetypes, right? It gives you the permission to be who you were meant to be. The celebrity, right? Showing up, acting like the celebrity, doing the branding photo shoots. The Maverick, you know, is the crazy one. She's the Walnut. She's the crazy one.
I love it. I love it so much. So Charissa, if there's a Walnut listening, like who's just a 9-to-5 corporate worker who's like, I'm just trying to live my life, but I feel like there's something more for me, what advice do you sort of have for them?
You know what, like creativity is coming in, you know, just getting like really creative, like leaving and opening up space to be creative. So that could be dancing, or, you know, picking up an instrument again, or actually going to some sort of like singing lessons, painting, whatever it may be. Like if you're, you know, feeling like there's something else for you, like tap into that part of you and see what like really brings you joy and what really feels good. I mean, maybe it's gardening, maybe it's like cooking delicious meals, reading, you know, maybe you're really good at reading or writing poetry. Like we don't really, I mean, some people do, but we forget, right, about that creative part of ourselves. And then I think that's accessing our soul. You know, it's an expression of our soul, that creative outlet in whatever, you know, way is creative for you. And then I feel like it would lead to you. I mean, potentially, if you're like, oh my God, pottery, maybe you'll start selling pottery. And this doesn't always have to lead to an entrepreneurship. It could just lead to something that you just love doing, right? That pleasure, that joy, and feeling connected to your soul.
Yes, absolutely. I feel like in 3D human world, we get so bogged down in the repetition and the machinery of just getting up every day, being on autopilot, that we forget that we're actually allowed to have fun along the way. So I love that creativity. Absolutely. It's such a great way to kind of come back down into the present moment as well, rather than worrying about tomorrow or all the things that you have to do. Just enjoy right now and what you can be doing in this moment. It's beautiful. Thank you. Before I ask you my token question, Charissa, where you've mentioned your Instagram handle already, but what offers have you got going on where if a Walnut listening is like, oh my God, I need to be in her vibe, I need her to tell me everything about myself, what can you do?
Yeah. So, I mean, on my Instagram, I'm always talking about the different offers. I mean, I do programs. What's coming up? I have a 3-day training, which is how to become magnetic online to attract more sales. So I love teaching about sales and, you know, business and becoming magnetic and stepping into your confidence, the mindset, the energetics. It's going to be Scale Your Empire, which is going to be a 4-week program where I'm going to lead women through scaling their empire and how to do it. So building their business. But if you want to book a private session, you can go to my website, which is www.intuitionrevolution.ca. And that's where you'll find my Sacred Money Code sessions, my psychic sessions. I have a money clearing and activation session. So there's quite a few different sessions that you can do with me.
Amazing. Amazing. And I will put them all in the show notes, Walnut. But your Instagram, Carissa, I just highly recommend. It's so fun to scroll through. I always enjoy myself so much when you pop up. But token question for Walnut Wednesday, the podcast. What does being a walnut mean to you, Carissa?
Oh my gosh. I don't know why this comes through when you're saying a walnut, but it's just like, I said it a little bit earlier in this interview where I just feel like a walnut is just like crazy, she's just her own crazy, her own way of being that maybe others will be like, whoa, like tame it down. That's different. I don't know about that. But she's someone who's like understanding so deeply that when she is her own crazy, that's when the crazy, mind-blowing things happen in her life. That's what it means to me. What does it mean to you? I want to know.
I love it. For me, I've heard that's a lovely analogy, and I love it because I feel like on the inside I really am crazy in a good way. For me, what I defined it as in a straight sentence is a walnut is a person who decides to be brave, because every day we're confronted with a choice. We're always in the realm of choice, and we're making these decisions all the time, whether they're big or small, but they're all baby steps towards the thing that we want to do at the end of the day. So it's kind of, to me, it started as a place of stepping into courage, trying to find my confidence. But I've just kind of learned along the way that confidence is something that's not actually, it's not something that's actually present. It's something that you kind of practice into through being brave, through courage. It's not actually like you don't just put on a suit and have confidence. It comes from practicing being brave.
Yes,
doing the crazy things.
Totally. I agree.
Yeah. So, Carissa, thank you so much for this conversation. I feel like there's going to be walnuts like I need to follow this woman. I need to speak to her so much more. So I really appreciate your time. And Walnut, thank you for your time and for listening. And if you enjoyed this episode, please do take a screenshot and tag us and share on your stories. We'd love to hear from you. And I will put I'll put the links to Carissa's things in the show notes, but also in the Walnut Tree in our group on Facebook. I'll put the quiz if you want to do it, so we can all talk together a little bit more about what our archetypes are and things like that. Carissa, again, thank you. This was so delicious, so amazing. I'm obsessed with you. You're my inspiration, like my celebrity inspiration. So thank you for visiting my podcast. It's been such a pleasure.
Such an honor. Thank you.
Have a happy Walnut Wednesday, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.